Hi, my name is Ray Wayne Gonzalez. Join me in my journey out of ignorance with things you pretend to know about, where we talk about things we think we might know, but really we have no idea.
Things you pretend to know about. Things you pretend to know. Things you pretend to know about. Things you pretend to know.
Hey guys, welcome to Things You Pretend to Know About, or welcome back to Things You Pretend to Know About. And today on the show, the thing I'm learning about is veganism. I know a very baseline knowledge on veganism, so I brought on my friends Clare, Anna, and Darby to tell me all about it. They've been vegans for about, I think, a good amount, a few years now, and they know all about its benefits towards the environment, towards your health. They know all about the humane backing of veganism, why it's such a good thing all around. And they're not annoying about it because vegans aren't annoying. Hate to break it to you, but vegans are annoying. They're just living their life. Everyone can be annoying about something. Me, I'm annoying about promoting my podcast. Does that make me the worst? Well, maybe. But I'm living my life, and they're just living theirs. Veganism isn't annoying. Vegetarianism isn't annoying. Just live your life. Like, shut up. Like, it's so, like, making fun of veganism or, like, any way someone chooses to live their life that isn't hurting anybody is, like, annoying. That's annoying. So forget it. Like, stop it. Cut the shit. Right? Okay. So yeah, we love vegans. I would love to be a vegan one day, especially after what they talked to me about, and I'm not there yet, and it's probably going to take me a while, but I'm going to ease myself into it. And I think it's super beneficial in so many ways, and I think I commend them and anyone who commits to a strict vegan diet out there. It's really cool, and you're going to learn a lot in this episode. You might even be converted to the life of veganism. Who knows? All right, so I hope you like it, and I love you, and bye. So we're here with my friends, Darby, Clare, and Anna. You want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah. I'm Anna.
Okay.
Want me to say something else?
No, I guess not, right?
I'm Claire.
And I'm Darby.
And we're going to talk about veganism. So, when did you guys start becoming vegans and why? Anyone can start.
Okay, I'll start. I first became vegan my sophomore year of college, so 2014. And I actually did it at first for health reasons. So I was just like getting sick a lot at school, like pneumonia, mono, like classic like college sickness, but like to the extreme, like
pneumonia.
sometimes. Yeah, and it was
classic
like
college sickness.
very frequent. It was very frequent.
Yeah.
And I was just feeling like super shitty. So went to the doctor multiple times throughout that year, and towards like the middle of that year, my doctor was like, why don't you try being like dairy free? And I was like, what? Like, how's that gonna help me? Right. And then I didn't do it, kept getting sick, and then eventually was like, okay, let me just try this. Went dairy free and felt so much better. Like, stomach problems were gone. I used to get like weird like ovarian cysts, just like all this like unnatural shit happening in my body,
Right.
from eating dairy. And I was like, wow, this really works. And actually one of my close friends was vegan.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, Darby, you should just be vegan. And then started like spitting the facts, and I was like, you're right. And then I just went vegan.
I can't wait to hear the facts.
Oh, no.
But, so what about you, Claire?
Well, me and Anna became vegan, like, in the same moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, well, we can both tell the story.
It was in I was just saying, I think it was the end of junior year of college.
In the summer,
Yeah.
we went to Maryland.
Yeah.
And on the drive back, we were with Gus and Max, and we started like getting so angry, like
Our
in the
friends
front
Gus
seat.
and Max. Gus.
Sorry, yeah.
We also have Madison with us, an alum to the Things You Potentially Know About pod.
Hey, everyone.
We heard you, we got it. Okay.
But yeah, we just started talking about it and like how crazy, the whole thing is, like our meat industry and like the way that we factory farm animals and everything. And we were like yelling, I remember.
Yeah, we were getting really angry even at ourselves,
Yeah.
but also at just the
yelling
world.
at yourselves.
And then we were kind of just like, well, we have to be vegan now. Like, let's just do. I was saying, I remember at the time, I was saying like, I had a date. I think it was like June 1st or something that I was gonna start. But then we were just like, well, let's just start right now.
Yeah, because we were like, we're so angry. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Yeah.
And then we were like, let's go to Taco Bell one last time.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
You
that
probably
was
get
it.
vegan stuff at Taco Bell. No?
I still do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
there
one
you
of
go.
the easier fast food places.
Yeah, but I got
I've
with
eaten
cheese.
there with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so like when you guys were talking about the the meat industry and all of that, like what really upset you the most? Claire, you can't laugh at me. I'm supposed to be a serious host.
I was looking at you.
You don't know that.
Yeah. Okay, so are you shushing me? I was about to be shushed. I literally have to talk.
This is going great.
But seriously, what in the meat industry that people don't really know about?
Well, I don't think it's that people. Well, I guess there are some portions of the population that literally know nothing about it, but I think most people pretty much know that it's pretty like horrifying what goes on in our meat industries
Yeah.
with all of the animals and with the dairy industry and everything, especially in our country, but pretty much like all over the world at this point, because people kind of decided that meat needed to be part of like every meal and dairy products. So in order to get that, you have to have such a mass quantity of animals killed and packed into the smallest conditions possible. And the only way that is acceptable is if it's completely like separate from our daily lives. So nobody ever has to see anything. And even if they have the opportunity, they just say like, oh, I just couldn't look at it or something. But I think basically what I came to the decision is that I feel kind of like if I'm going to eat it, then I should be responsible for knowing what's going on. And if I know everything and I'm okay with it, then okay. But I obviously was not okay with it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
It's easy to turn a blind eye.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too, like people sometimes just like hope for the best and like think about like meat and dairy and are like, well, maybe like this place that I'm getting it from is like okay, or like this restaurant maybe gets it from like a good place, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's unless they're like really touting the fact that it is from a good place,
Right.
then it's not going to be.
Right.
So, and it's just kind of if you're willing to, I don't want to say prioritize, but like acknowledge it every
Yeah.
time that you buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, remember when Madison, you told me that like all of the fast food restaurants have an F grade for the meat,
Yeah.
except for the Bear Burger or something.
Shake Shack.
Shake Shack.
And
Shouts out.
Burger Meat or Burger Fat.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever that place is called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every other.
Which is
pure
so
chain.
fucking nuts. Like an F. Like not
Yeah.
even a D.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also though, I think I don't know a lot about the grade, maybe you guys do, but I think that only has to do with kind of like the quality of the meat and how it'll affect us. Like that doesn't even have to do with how those animals are
Oh, really?
treated.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
about antibiotics.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
antibiotics,
hormones
exactly.
and stuff. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like that's bad on its own for like health reasons, but in terms of like if you're worried about the humane treatment of animals, like that, basically that grade is going to be an F for almost everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like what's crazy is like literally on packaging sometimes they'll be like, oh, humanely slaughtered. And you're like, humanely slaughtered? Like,
Right, yeah.
How
That's
does that
ironic.
make any sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
But people read that every day and are like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, so, like, how do you feel about, like, hunting? Like, it's because I know some people, if they they're more okay with eating meat when they're okay with people eating meat if they like go hunt it themselves. So no one's like hunting a cow, but like hunting deer and eating venison.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't have a problem with like that super small percentage of the population that like
Right, that's, like,
only
no
hunts what they eat or whatever.
Yeah.
But the majority of those people who are hunting also go out and buy meat from Walmart. It's not like that, you know. But I mean, there are people who just hunt and that's their only source of meat, and for that, like, you know, I don't really have an opinion about that because I don't really know that much about it or anything. But it's just such a small percentage of the population that it's not.
Yeah.
And not everyone has a farm, so.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of like what you were saying before, like I don't know, I kind of made this conclusion or whatever with myself that if I couldn't do it to the animal like myself, then I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's kind of hard with hunting because I definitely don't think I could ever kill an animal willingly. Like I could never, I mean, you know, maybe if it was like the freaking Hunger Games or whatever, but like, you know, like I wouldn't go out and be like, I'm going to kill a deer and eat it for dinner.
Right.
But at the same time, like, not that I want to eat deer anyway, just because that really freaks me out. But like, I don't think there's anything wrong with people eating it.
Yeah.
If they hunted it and, you know,
Themselves, yeah.
yeah, they weren't like, you know,
the whole shebang.
taking pictures with the deer legs and
yeah.
the
So fucking
American
weird.
flags in the back. Yeah.
That's so weird when they pose with the dead carcass.
Yeah, like, good job, you had a gun and like it didn't.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Pretty
Basically
much.
not a fair fight
It's
at
so
all.
stupid.
I know, that's bizarro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually I went to school in Maine and that's like everywhere. And like you said, like I feel like it's different when they're just hunting versus like these people are hunting but also like
Right.
going to buy groceries.
Yeah.
And people post photos like that all the time, and I just remember like the local news posting this whole story about this guy who like, and they had photos like that of him like posing with the dead carcass, and I'm just like, I commented something like on the news Facebook, and I was just ripped apart. And this is like when I first went vegan, so I was like,
Really?
so into
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Like, I want to
Yes.
have my first argument, but then people like tore me apart because it was
Aw.
Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy though. Like I felt like I was like surrounded by that, and I'm like, you don't like need it though.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So
Right. To like people that feel like they need meat for because I've heard like arguments against being vegan or vegetarian and the fact that like when they have meat they feel like stronger or like they don't feel, I don't know, as like sick or weak or whatever. And like I feel like some part of me understands that, but like also I kind of feel like I never need meat, I feel like, ever in my life. I've always wanted it, so if I've eaten it. So, like, I never really understood that, but I also feel like their diet, they're just, like, not doing the diet correctly, but I don't really know. Not that it's a diet, but it's just, like,
Yeah.
the way of a vegan diet correctly.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I don't have like the stats on this or anything, but I think that from what I've seen, it's a combination of either, like most people that say that probably just don't really know what to cook if they're not going to cook something with meat. So they probably wouldn't feel great if they didn't have something with meat in it because it wouldn't be like nutritionally complete. There definitely is, though, I would say a smaller percentage of people that their bodies just aren't as good at like absorbing some vitamins that are in meat and might be allergic to some foods that like the other than meat that have those. So it makes it trickier. So I don't want to like make a blanket statement, you know what I mean? But for some, I have met some people that say that they do need to eat meat for certain reasons. But that's just like a lot smaller. Like most people don't need it at all.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, basically the things that you can get out of meat, except for vitamin B12, you can get from like tons of other things. So like just saying like you need meat is kind of like a confusing thing to say because it's just the vitamins that you need that are in it, which you can get from all different other sources. Like the whole protein thing, which is like what every vegan is asked like most often, where do you get your protein?
What do you eat?
Which is like really a strange question because like most people don't even know where they get their own protein.
I never
so,
think about
so
like, am
they
I getting
don't-
my protein today?
Yeah,
Like,
so
no.
I don't know why people are like get concerned where you're getting yours from.
Yeah.
But yeah, like basically I have written down that main sources of protein that aren't meat are peas, seeds, broccoli, quinoa, tofu, tempeh, beans, nuts, non-dairy milks, and dark leafy greens, which like I have most of those things like every day.
At least
Yeah.
once a day.
So it equals out to the same thing if you're eating it right. Like most people say that as long as you're eating kind of all different colors as a vegan, then you're getting the right vitamins. Because I don't really know the science behind it, but apparently if you're having like orange like sweet potatoes and like lots of greens and like purple like all things like that, then you'll be getting enough. So basically, yeah, it's just about what you're eating and make.
I love how you snuck in purple in there. I'm like, what is purple?
I think like beets and stuff like that.
yeah.
Purple
sure.
carrots, and
Potatoes.
potatoes.
Cabbage, yeah.
And that basically, I think the color thing just comes from, like, usually colors are because of a certain mineral or vitamin that it has or
Antioxidants,
antioxidant.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's gonna, if you're eating a lot of colors, you're gonna have a wide variety
Right.
Yeah,
of those things.
definitely. What's B? What is
12.
B12? What is that like? Do we really need that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Does somebody?
Does anyone
I can. Oh no. Okay. Well, B12 is basically just energy. Like I don't know much beyond that besides the fact that it's like a main source of energy. So if you're vitamin B12 deficient, which a lot of people are, because a lot of people that eat meat and dairy don't even get the right amount
a lot
of
of
B12.
meat eaters are B12 deficient also.
Yeah, so, and like that also has to do with like the way, because some people's bodies just really aren't good at absorbing it regardless of where it's coming from.
Okay.
So it is super important to get. But yeah, like you were saying, you don't need to get it from me unless you just happen to be allergic to every food that has B12 that's not meat.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Or you just take a supplement. Like I take a monthly supplement. They have like all different kinds. Like I'm not like a vitamin person, so I don't like, but some people are. They like taking their different vitamins, but I just take that one once a month and it's just a gummy. Like it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to get to environmentally because I feel like a lot of people are going vegan for the environment, and I feel like if I were to start going vegan, I like really going vegetarian or vegan, I would do it for the environmental reasons.
Yeah.
A lot of like, and for the animals. I think that's so fucked. But mostly for the environment. So but like I don't even know the ins and outs of it really. Do you guys know how being veganism helps get your
Yeah.
paper out?
It being vegan actually like slashes your carbon footprint in half, like just your diet. And it's because this is like a big misconception, but half of like human related carbon emissions or like greenhouse gas emissions are due to animal agriculture.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't know that because it sounds funny and it's hard to think about.
It's like cow farts.
It's literally cow farts.
Yeah.
It's like methane going into the air,
right.
into the atmosphere. And no one talks about it. Like the government is like hush hush on it because they're making money from these huge factory farming industries.
Yep.
So a lot of people just straight up don't know.
So basically there's like an overpopulation. Is there like an overpopulation of cows due to the
It's
need for meat?
extreme.
And that's why that's like
and because of
basically
what
the
they're feeding them.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are they feeding them?
So they're feeding them like grains that are not easily digestible. So not what a cow would like normally eat on their own. Because they're trying to fatten up these animals at an alarming rate so they can get to killing them quickly to produce more meat to make more money.
Okay.
So they're feeding them these like cheap like cornmeal or like grains that don't digest well in a cow's stomach.
And lots of
So,
soybeans.
yeah, and it just like sits there, it builds up all this gas, and then they burp and fart it out.
Right. And not only that, but like just the like one of the craziest facts I ever heard, because I never really thought, I once I heard about all this, I never thought about like the amount of land it takes to grow the food that these animals eat because they're so much bigger than us and there's so many more of them. And so apparently, where is it?
Come on, Anna.
It's well, basically, 82% of starving children live in countries where food is fed to animals, and then the animals are eaten by Western countries. So, like, all of their land is taken up just by this food that are fed to the animals in other countries, and like that, literally, you could take the animals out of that equation, and those people could just eat the food on their own land,
Right.
and those people wouldn't be starving. Like,
So, in America, probably is the biggest, you know.
I don't know
that for sure.
I don't know about
actually.
that.
And yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But I'd
India
say it's
is a big
definitely
one.
top 5.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like.
I mean, they're all like horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so another really big reason for why it's like, you know, decimating the environment is because of the amount of water that it takes.
right.
So I do have some facts here. So you know how everybody says, like, we grew up learning this in school, and like you always hear about this on the news, kind of, I feel like how you can reduce like your water usage, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like take shorter showers, like don't have your like friggin' like sprinklers on, like whatever, in the lawn. But okay, so if you compare that to the amount of water that's going into the food that you're eating, which obviously is applicable to like vegetables as well. Like, so
Yeah.
that's like a whole nother story. But livestock in particular is really crazy. So, okay, the entire amount of water that's utilized for like domestic purposes, so like everything that we use basically, is 10% of like the world's total freshwater consumption. Meanwhile, the total amount of water that's used for agriculture is 66 to 70%. For everybody, and then 8% of that fresh water is needed to raise the entire world's livestock population. So that's only 2% less fresh water than the entire population of people are using. So if you're looking at it in terms of, I mean, there's so many reasons, but if you're looking at it in terms of like a water perspective, like the biggest thing that you can do is like to use less water is to not eat any meat.
Yeah.
Or to eat less meat.
Yeah. Apparently, 2,500 gallons of water are needed to produce 1 pound of beef.
Mm-hmm.
You could literally just leave your sink on forever. Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
That's insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so fucking nuts.
And then the same, I like these facts a lot because
They're
they're
just
things
so
that you
big.
can kind of remember and like compare
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
head.
yeah.
Like, okay, like okay, can I tell a story? A small story?
Please do.
Oh my God, it's only going to take 30 seconds. Okay, so
We're only 20 minutes in. We're good.
so the other day, my boyfriend and I were in the car, and his dad has an electric Volt or whatever. So we were like driving somewhere that like we didn't need to drive to, and he was like, you know, like, oh, here we go, like, you know, using this like whatever, because electricity is obviously like dirty coal fuel or whatever. And I was like, okay, but if you think about it, where we're going is only like 20 extra miles. And all you have to do if you want to like equal it out in your head or even it out or whatever is to not order meat the next time that we're out.
Yeah.
Because I have also, where is it? It's like this, when I heard this, I like couldn't believe it. Do you have the miles, Anna? It's like if you eat 1 kilogram. Oh no, guys! I was all
but
ready.
I have where? Yeah, I can't find any of my.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait. I got it. So
It's
it's.
no quiz. Don't worry.
I
I know,
really
but they're
feel
like
like
so
it is.
shocking.
Oh, here we go. I got it. Okay, so if you have 1 kilogram of beef, which like I'm really embarrassed to say, I don't know how that equals into a pound.
Me neither.
But so it requires more CO2 than 1 gallon of gasoline. So if you eat 1 kilogram of beef, it's equivalent to burning 6.2 gallons of gasoline or driving 160 miles in a mid-sized car.
That's going to Long Island.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Hudson Valley.
Yeah. It is also more energy efficient to buy like a box of non-organic strawberries from literally across the world, like from Bali, than to buy a local pound of beef like from your town.
Crazy.
Wow.
Like, you might as well buy all your stuff in like Walmart from the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Because
That's crazy.
So a lot of people would hear this and like I probably would hear this and like be like, I have to go vegan and last a week. Like, what would you say to people who are like actually concerned? Because a lot of people will hear this and just like turn it off. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
because again, they don't. It's easy to turn a blind eye, right? So, what would you say to people that like actually want to live this way for like a long time? Like, how can you have longevity in veganism? With like, is there an easy way, or do you kind of just get used to it?
I feel like you guys had a way better story about like why you went vegan. I was like, yeah, I was feeling sick, and like you guys were like the animals, but it eventually turned into that for me. I feel like you start off for whatever your own reason may be. Usually it's like one thing at a time. So like for the animals, just in general, or for the environment, or for your health. And then I would just say, like, the best piece of advice I could give is keep educating yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, I started for health, and I was like, wow, I feel great. And luckily, like, I had a vegan friend. And then around that time, like, documentaries were coming out.
Yeah.
So I watched Cowspiracy, things like that, started reading books, and, like, force yourself to watch those videos of, like, animals being dragged into a slaughterhouse. It sounds horrifying, and it is horrifying, but...
I have an image of a pig being, like, just fucking brutalized.
Yeah.
Like, from one of those documentaries. It's, like, etched in my brain. Like, I can't get it
And,
out.
like, as horrible as that is, it's a constant reminder.
Yeah.
And I feel like just exposing yourself to as much... like material as possible will help you further your decision and be like, no, like I need to do this. Like I've seen this. I can't turn back now. Like that was like my thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say a similar thing, like definitely, because this happened so long ago, kind of, you know, over,
About almost 3
years, that like I kind of like I'm not like up on all the things as much as I used to be, because it's like, oh, I already know. But at the same time, it doesn't stay at the forefront of your mind anymore. Like the imagery and like why exactly you did it. So yeah, I like remind myself that like anytime, like if I wanted to go get, you know, chicken or whatever, like I immediately think of like what I've seen actually happens and remind myself that like that wasn't a one-off time. Like that wasn't like a random documentary that was made at this just one horrible place that then got in trouble and got shut down. Like that's what's happening every single time like you're eating that. So, and again, I just like, you know, think I could never do that to an animal. Like I could never do that to my pets. You know, I could never treat anything like that. So why would I go and buy into that myself?
Yeah. Yeah, I think like basically the same things, and like I just think it's not like, I know people think about it like, yeah, but like one time or like whatever, and like that's fine. Like if you're a person who like really cares about this and a few times you mess up, like it doesn't matter. If you still care about it, then like just keep doing it. A lot of people like start and then they mess up and they're like, well, I messed up, so you know, I'll take a few months off or something. But if it's still something you really care about, like it doesn't really matter if you have it once. Like it's your life's purchasing that's going to make the difference. So like educate yourself more. And then just a lot of it is also just learning what to make and what to cook and what restaurants to go to and what you can eat and what you can't eat. And it honestly, like for me at least, it ends up being like so fun and like so fun to cook, and it's like so fun to not cook with meat, because meat is like disgusting anyway.
Yeah, it really is.
And like going out to restaurants where there's only like 5 things you can eat, like it's a lot easier to choose. Like it's really like once you get past the first few months, it's like it's so much easier.
Work.
No, you don't even think about it. It's not like, it's just that first stage.
Yeah, and definitely, especially for people, like I never really loved meat. Like it was never a huge part of my diet anyway. It kind of grossed me out. But for people that really love it, like I think it's about saying like, okay, maybe, because it's not all or nothing. Like you were just saying, so like maybe this week, like I'm only going to eat it like for 2 or 3 meals this week and see how it goes. Yeah. And then like next week, like do the same thing and like keep trying that way, because it's not like you're not making a difference. Like you definitely are. And I kind of look at it too, like every time you go somewhere, like whether it's to a restaurant or to the grocery store, and you make the choice like actively not to buy a dairy product or a meat product, like you're, in my head, I mean, I know it's like, you know, my vote counts, whatever, but it's like you're hopefully like changing like the supply and demand course.
Yeah.
And we even see that happening like in our lifetime, especially like I was just thinking about this today with like non-dairy milk. Like when we
Oh,
were
yeah.
younger, like
Who drinks milk?
yeah, right, exactly.
No, yeah.
Never met
So
it.
stuff like that, like it will
and
happen.
like tons of those dairy farms have been shut down, like tons. Like
Really?
they shut down every day, and that's because people stop drinking it, and like literally that's what you affect when you
Yeah.
stop doing it. It's not like nothing's ever gonna happen, I'm just one whatever, but you're like contributing to good. So
I mean, I had it pretty easy because I was lactose intolerant.
That's
so I was
right.
like, a kid, but I kind of ignore it because I still eat cheese, which is like not great to be around me when I'm eating cheese. But regardless, I feel like even though I had that like advantage, I guess, of not having milk, I feel like a lot of people that I know just don't have milk because it's kind of gross when you think about it in the first place. And I think like almond milk, but almond milk isn't good for the environment, right?
Well, that's like really
Controversial.
tricky. Yeah, it's tricky.
I need
It's
some
tricky.
controversy.
It's less than half as bad as I know what like
Yeah.
everything says. So it's like it's still bad, but it's like a lot less bad. So like if you just have a little almond milk in your coffee every once in a while, like
Yeah, and like everything is going to have some sort of negative effect
Right.
which really sucks. So like especially if you're going to the grocery store and you're already buying something that is mass produced. Like if you're going to buy like silk or whatever, like
Yeah.
if you go for soy milk, like there's a really good chance that that's, especially if it's non-organic, like that's being grown in a Central or South American country that's like taking down the rainforest. Or are you gonna like buy almond milk that took like a gallon of water for one of the almonds, and there's like 300 trillion almonds in like a gallon of almond milk grown in like Central Valley, California, so that like came all the way across the country. So it's like, what are you gonna do?
You had to buy
Right.
local and make your own, and
Right.
it's like 10 times better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
It's
who's about to make their own almond milk?
It's convenient. It's convenient to just
Yeah.
go to the store, but it is better than like the mass
Yeah,
produced
for sure.
like, dairy industry.
Yeah, 100%. But so there's also an argument, like I was mentioning earlier, that veganism isn't affordable. There's a lot of people who feel like I would be vegan if I could afford to be vegan, like if I wasn't on food stamps, like, but like I feel like, I don't know. But what would you say to those people that feel like they can't be vegan and kind of get mad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first? Eric just prepped me with this question before I got here.
Okay.
I feel like I'd be like, let me cook for you and show you the way.
Let me go to the grocery store, show you how much it costs. Yeah,
But I don't know. That's false, like you said. Just because the cheapest foods are vegan,
Right.
rice, beans, like
we just like made for
veggies,
you guys.
fruits. Like if you buy,
yeah, like vegetables, just go in the vegetable produce
Yeah.
section. Like all the vegetables are like $1 or less.
potatoes, like those are such cheap foods versus like buying pounds of beef or I don't know,
Right.
chicken, shrimp.
And if it's
like
that
fish.
cheap anyway, then like that's really not good, and you should
Yeah,
be
it's
considering what
horrible
you're
for
eating
you.
anyway.
I always say like, and also the expensive vegan stuff is like the processed fake meat.
Yeah.
Not like steering anyone away from that. If you can afford it and you're first going vegan, like it's a great option as a substitute.
Sure.
But if you are on food stamps and really thinking about going vegan, like it is doable. I have friends that were like in the Peace Corps and then came out of the Peace Corps and then went on food stamps and they've been vegan the whole time and they're like, yeah, it's totally affordable.
Right.
Yeah.
And you end up buying things that are like in less packaging, so you're further reducing like your environmental impact.
Right,
So.
definitely.
Yeah, and I don't know, I understand where that comes from, because veganism, like if you are going to be vegan, like it's kind of a luxury to make that decision to begin with, because like any movement like this, like sort of kind of like environmentalism, and I know they're kind of born out of similar things, but it's like you were most likely like educated
Yeah, like you're privileged enough to have these resources.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, and to understand like the positive and negatives of this. So, and because then those people, they're more likely to be affluent and like I don't know, and then it got a name as being like a trend and like a fad, you know, and
Yeah.
associated with a certain group of
Yeah.
people. So it definitely makes sense why people think that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's like that is completely false, because unless you're buying the expensive like meat substitutes or going out to like vegan restaurants that are like supposed to taste like meat,
Right.
then
Right.
it's going to be expensive. But
Okay.
Yeah. I think like saying like the protein thing and like the expense thing, it's kind of things that people like to ask or fight just because they don't really want to consider it that much for themselves. So they want to like have something to back them up for their decision. Like that's all my like old relatives who I talk to at holidays are like, oh, but like, you know, too expensive, I wish, or whatever. But I think it's just kind of like, obviously, if we sat down and you really wanted to talk about it, then I'm sure we could.
Right.
And that's the thing too, is like people that can afford it but are like they can completely afford it but are like, oh no, like way too expensive. Like one of my favorite quotes is like, invest in your health now so you don't have to later. Because like it's gonna end up costing you medical bills down the line if you
Yeah,
don't take care of
true.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
so-
feel like, and I'm not like super health conscious. Like I wish I was more, right? That's like,
Yeah, same.
you know, resolution, right?
Yeah.
But I do feel like so many causes of people's, like so many health problems that people have, maybe in like the baby boom generation or even now, like I'm very convinced that it's from the processed foods and it's from like all this like shit that is made with the other shit. I'm not saying it right, but you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's from all the processed foods that we're all intaking that we don't even know we're eating.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of people don't even realize that they're eating like all this crap, and neither do like there's a lot of things I don't pay attention to that I should. You know,
Right.
like a bag of Cheetos is probably no good.
yeah.
You're eating plastic. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I think it's kind of just like I don't mean common sense, like, oh, it's just common sense in like an obnoxious way, but it's just like, if you think about the process of it and it really freaks you out, then it's like, yeah, probably not a good idea to be eating it. Like, if you're like eating chicken that doesn't say like no antibiotics, no hormones, like no wasn't fed animal waste, which like for any listeners, like that literally means that like dead chickens were ground up and fed to like baby chickens. Like that doesn't sound like good, you know? So
No, it sounds like cannibalism
Yeah.
for chickens.
yeah.
That's so fucked. I want to hear about your myths that you had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
These are just like, most of them are just like silly, but like some of them, well, vegans don't have enough protein. Vegans care more about animals than humans. A lot of people think that because it's like, they say that, you know, lots of humans are suffering and like the humans that work in the factory farms need their jobs. And so if you're not paying for their whatever, then you're not supporting humans and you only care about the animals.
What the heck is that?
I know.
I know.
Honestly.
I mean, people are going to eat no matter what, so there's always going to be jobs for those people.
It's gonna be farms,
Unless,
like food, like produce farms.
and those people, let me like
They don't want to
Oh
be
my God.
there.
they. Well,
Like,
I
they're-
mean, some of them
in the
it's like
middle.
a family thing, but like most of them, it's like the. I mean, I went
Like
to
in
a
the
factory
industry,
farm,
yeah.
and
You went to a factory farm?
I went to a slaughterhouse when I took a class at Cornell. I didn't go to Cornell, but I took a class there called Ethics of Eating. And we had the option to go to a factory farm at the end. They lie about it and say that we're a food science class. It was an ethics class. But so that's why we were allowed in. And a lot of people didn't go. A lot of the vegans didn't go. But I thought it was like really important to see. And like I was just interested also because I would see videos, but I didn't know. This was kind of like a classic one. Their meat was sold. It was cows, and their meat was sold at Target and places like that. It was in upstate New York. It was like a 2-hour drive from Ithaca. And yeah, so we went, and it's pretty much like we started from the end, which was weird. You start in the package room, like you see that all the meat coming out and the ground beef and all of that and being packaged, and then you kind of go backwards down the line. And literally the entire floor is just caked in blood, like inches, because you can't get rid of it. There's so much everywhere, and the people are just constantly mopping it up. But it's just like
God.
all blood. It's literally like an actual horror movie. Like you couldn't even imagine what it's like. It's like and it just slowly gets like worse and worse, obviously, because there's more of a cow there, and like hanging upside down, and then like whatever, and then you go around and there's like, and I'm gonna start crying right now, but there's like an actual cow there, like it's right there, like you don't even think about it because it's like everything's so dead, but then like there's a living cow standing right there, and they're like all making noise because they can see each other like go onto the line. and like it's just so crazy to watch because it's like that, it's literally like that's how fast each one dies, and it's like that's happening at all times, like they are always there, and that was just at one place. So it's like so weird. I like always think about it, like when I'm laying in bed or something, I'm just like like really, because I'm just like,
That's traumatizing.
if they're each like that's happening right now and right now and right now, and they're just watching each, like it's like horrifying. And like that's why I just think it's like so important to see even just a video or whatever, and like really think about it, not just be like oh, you know, like I know, but like McDonald's or whatever, because like
That's
like
me,
people
basically.
people can make such a big difference with their buying choices, like such a big difference. Like your whole life, you spend so much money on your food, and like you're supporting the places that you buy from. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a rant. Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I was gonna say something going off of it. Is that okay? Do we still have time, right? Okay. Well, I wasn't sure. So kind of going like what you said reminded me of this, is like how cows. This is about like the humane side of it.
Yeah.
So like cows like are understanding what's happening to them, and like this goes for the chickens is definitely debatable. I'm gonna go side with like the chickens on this one, but like I've heard that they understand geometry.
Yeah,
But anyway,
okay. I don't, so
yeah, right.
One up on me.
So, but anyway, like cows, like especially in that situation, like they're understanding what's happening to them. Like they're understanding that they're in pain, like as they're going through. They also understand when their calves are being taken from them. Like for the
worst thing
veal
to watch.
industry, it is like horrifying.
Yeah, I've seen
and
that.
then and then like even more so, like pigs is like completely beyond me, because
They're smarter than dogs.
yeah, and like everybody, that's kind of like a new thing that everybody's been realizing, that pigs are smarter than dogs, and we don't really understand like the level of their intelligence, but we know that they're definitely intelligent. And what I always am so confused about is like how people are with their pets versus then going to the store and eating meat, because it's like, okay, so here's a pig that can like could also be like a seizure dog, like an epileptic dog, like just how, you know, people have dogs that sense seizures. For all of those things, you know, can be just as much of a companion. Like, you know, I think they're really cute, but some people don't.
Not as cute.
But like, regardless, like they're very intelligent. Yeah, and like, but we just sort of made this decision like a long time ago, like during the Industrial Revolution, that like we're gonna kill these animals, but we're not gonna kill cats or dogs or the animals that we choose to love. I think
that's strange too.
It's bizarre.
I've been seeing, like, I talked to you about the, there's a adoption center in Brooklyn that it saves dogs from Korea that they're going to eat. And everyone's so up in arms about it, but it's like, what's the difference between
There is
like it's just a different culture that they're eating these,
and people like say such horrible things about their culture because of that, and it's like honestly screwed up, because
it's
that's
just
just their tradition, and it's different than
same.
our tradition, and it's the same thing.
right?
There's like there's a really good book, and I'm totally forgetting the author's name, but the title of the book is like Why We Love Dogs, Eat Pigs, and Wear Cows. And it's like, it just explains all of this in
That's
detail.
awesome.
It's like, why are we doing this to other animals, but not some? Like, why did we choose dogs and cats to like domesticate and have in our homes and like be this loving pet and companion?
Do you think it's because of like the meatiness? Like, because they're like bigger than
feel
dogs?
like no, only because
a lot
you
of
can
them
grow
originally
chickens
aren't
like just as big, scarily. Like the way that the industry is doing it now, like the way that they fatten up these animals is terrifying.
Like, why don't we
I-
eat like moose if that was the case?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, like,
I think
it's so big.
Well, I don't want to say the wrong thing, because I don't know exactly what the reason is, but I think like the domestication of dogs and cats happened just like at a different time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you read the book, you know, probably.
They like talk about it sort of, but yeah, I agree. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
either. I have a hypothesis about it, but like,
Give it to
Say
us.
it.
I feel like you're right. Like, it happened at a different time. And I feel like it also had to do with convenience of that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, sort of going off of what you said, like, because like pigs or cows were bigger and fatter, and like they didn't have like the hormones and antibiotics and all of the stuff that they used back then. And they were just like,
Right.
oh, like these are the bigger, meatier animals. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise these ones, and like we can not eat these ones and like
Yeah.
play with them instead.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, so I wonder how we started eating meat in the first. I guess it was for survival.
Yeah.
So that makes
Exactly.
more sense than mass produced.
Right, exactly. So, like, this might turn into a rant.
That's what podcasts are literally
Go for
are.
it.
So
Okay.
For it.
Well, I'm just gonna say, I prepped everybody for this. Like, I eat cheese and eggs. Like,
sounds
if I
fake, but okay. Get off. I'm just kidding.
so I eat cheese and eggs if I know that they're from like a local source or whatever. And partly because I do like supporting like local farms if I know that they're doing like they're on a good mission.
Humane, yeah.
And like kind of I forget why I started saying this, but basically like I think that people in the past like we would eat meat as like a special thing. So like obviously every culture is different. So like I'm not going to say like every part of the world evolved this way, but people started eating meat as like the specialty thing because if you think about it, hunting was a lot harder to do. Like people were never sure if when they went out for a hunt if they were going to come back with anything. So people's diets like mainly consisted of like plant-based foods, and then the meat was like a specialty thing, and that's how it like transcended into even like kind of modern times, like in the 1800s, early 1900s. Like people ate meat, but it wasn't factory farmed at all because not as many people were eating as much of it. So it was very local, like it wasn't all like boosted up with all like the stupid crap or whatever. But then it started to just be incorporated into like everything because it was so much cheaper because the process of it was much more efficient to make or to like raise, I guess. But now it's like, making it. So we just like started eating so much of it.
Right.
What did you say? Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, that kind of
You
makes
said this is gonna be a rant.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Well, no, because
No,
it's
I
just
loved it.
like it's not. I don't know. In my
I get what
opinion,
you
it's
mean.
not bad. It's just that we all eat like so much of it, and it's
Right.
turned into a new thing.
And also, people say a lot now, like, okay, it's a special occasion thing. Like, I just have it every once in a while. Or, like, okay, well, what if we all just have it? Or, like, what if I just have it less or whatever? And that's totally fine. But, like, the problem is that most people still eat it all the time. So, like, the reason why I'm vegan and not just half vegan is because if we want to
counteract
make a
that.
difference, then, like, some people have to just do it all because
For
it's
sure.
not
That
other.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my thought process in it all is like for myself, because I do eat meat, but I'm not like a meat eater. You know what I mean? I'm not like always eating meat. Like I could have rice and beans every day of my life, or like pasta, which is not like the good rounded diet for a vegan, I know. But like you have pasta every day too. So, but what was I saying? But my rationale, I'm always like, well, like I only eat meat if I go out, but that's like I feel like not good either because like that's contributing to them buying more meat. I don't know.
right? No, I know what you're saying. That's true. Yeah.
I like try to treat it as a luxury. Like if Dane is making dinner and he makes chicken, I'm not gonna be like, I don't want the chicken. Like he bought the chicken, he's gonna make the chicken. But yeah, like I try to like ration it and like only eat when I go out or like eat certain meats like only during the holidays or whatever. Like I try to like cut it down, but I never thought of the fact that like of the counteract.
Yeah, exactly.
Of how everyone, because we're in New York, we're on the coast basically.
Yeah.
So like people are way more aware of like everything that's going on. I mean, I can't speak for Middle America because I've never lived there, you know. But like, I'm assuming, and I know I shouldn't assume, but I'm assuming that a lot more people on the coast are more hyper aware to like the meat industry and the dairy industry and like all the wrongs that it leads to global warming and
Yeah. No, I think, it's definitely good to like count, because every time, I don't know, like what you said, if you go all the way or like almost all the way, then you're counteracting people that don't know about it. And not just people that like are kind of doing it like half and half or whatever. It's like you're making up for a large number of people that aren't even educated on it to begin with, to even make that choice whether or not to eat meat. You know what I mean? So it's like you're going that extra step.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people too have this mindset of like, I also get this question sometimes of like, okay, you're vegan, that's great, but like other people are still killing the animals.
Right.
And like my favorite saying also, my second favorite saying, because I already said it before.
one of your many.
One of the many is just like how people are like, my vote doesn't count, or my
Yeah, it's the same thing.
thing doesn't count, like said 2 million people.
Right.
Like,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know, like you do make a difference. You make a much bigger difference than you actually think.
100%.
So even just, and also just like doing the best you can.
Yeah.
Like Meatless Monday. I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people start that way.
Yeah.
And it, like, I forget the stat and I had it written down earlier, but it's something like it makes a huge difference if, I'm like totally forgetting the stat, but I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's like if one city participates in Meatless, if one average sized city participates in Meatless Monday, every Monday for a whole year, it's something crazy. It like cuts down.
I have one from a bunch of different journals, but it says each day a person who eats a vegan diet saves 1,100 gallons of water, 45 pounds of grain, 30 square feet of forested land, 20 pounds of CO2 equivalent, and one animal's life.
Dang.
So
It's so crazy.
And you don't even think about it. Like, I
Yeah.
never think about it ever.
It's mindless.
So with
So
the,
you
with
just-
the land thing, is that like, because that's the only one that didn't totally make sense to me. Is with the land thing, is that because they're not chopping down, like making room for the animals?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Or like using it to feed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Animal agriculture is responsible for up to 91% of Amazon destruction, which like you never think of, because mostly what they show of Amazon destruction is like fields of soybeans and stuff like that, but that's where it's going,
Yeah.
is to the animals, not to us.
Right.
So
So do you guys feel like, I know we mentioned it, or one of you mentioned it earlier, that you see in our generation like kind of an upward rise to, that's redundant, but like a up and coming knowledge of all this vegan stuff, like all this like an awareness of the environment, how to help the environment, how to help your health, how to save the animals and the earth, basically, which is, I think, I see it happening more often. I think more people, even throughout all of America, more people who are younger or our age, we're younger, but younger than us, even are more aware. I don't know. I don't have the right terminology
It's
Mm-hmm.
to
a
say
movement.
anything. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a movement
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. Like, do you guys feel like that's happening?
Yes.
We're all like nodding our heads.
Please don't nod.
Sorry. No, I definitely do. Because I think that people, I mean, I don't know exactly what the reasons are, but I think that people are understanding that, there's all like the myths and like the misconceptions about meat and eating and health kind of, they're being like myth busted. Like people are understanding, and it is more accessible. Because there are a lot of those like transitional foods too, like not meat based, like meat tasting products and stuff. So it's like makes the transition easier.
Like the Beyond Burger.
Yeah, exactly. So stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, everybody always, I hate when people say like, oh, it's just like a fad, or like, oh, you like won't be vegan like one day, or like whatever, because it's like young people are associated with these types of movements.
Right.
But I really see that
the young
it's
people are
happening.
going to be the
Older.
rest of our lives.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also just because of the internet, and like because things like Netflix, like these documentaries are able to be shared and stuff, that so many more people know about it. Like before you would have to like get a documentary on DVD at Blockbuster or something
Right,
and then
and no
share
one's
it with
gonna-
your friends, and it wouldn't have this kind of impact that like
You're
Cowspiracy.
always gonna get like, you know, National Treasure over that at Blockbuster, you know. So
No, exactly. So like since those things can be spread so fast, then that's I think why it's happened now, and since when there's a need for stuff like that, then products start popping up. So yeah, I think, and I also think it's like kind of hard for the older generation, our parents' generation, because they didn't have that ability to share and they didn't know this stuff really. A lot of them didn't even know and still don't that this is kind of where they get their food from, which is like a really hard part about this, because it's really hard to change people's minds about something that their parents didn't teach them. Like that sounds dumb, but like even to me, it was really hard for me to like hear that this happens and think that my mom fed it to me for my whole life. And like she the other day cried to me talking about it because she was talking about the amount of chicken wings she'd had in her life. She's gone vegetarian now, but like she was just like saying she couldn't believe it and couldn't like believe that she set that precedent for her children, but she just didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like kind of a hard thing that people have to deal with their parents, and like getting past that, like even though everybody at your family dinners is eating meat and then you seem like the bad one when you're trying to do the right thing.
like you're like, do you ever feel like people are making you feel annoying?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Vegans have such a bad rep.
Yeah.
Like,
So bad.
And it sucks because like even if you're not, it's not like, I don't know, I know you guys don't do this, and like most people don't. It's not like you like walk into your Christmas dinner and you're like,
hey, what's up? I'm vegan.
No.
yeah, like no meat
So
for
y'all
me.
know.
It's
Yeah.
like I like sit there like eye
Quietly,
level with
yeah.
the table, and I'm just like, don't pass me like
and I
the
don't
turkey.
care what I eat. I'll just have like some rice. Like I literally don't care, but it's still
Yeah.
It's
Oh, so
actually
there's
other
no
people that
tofurkey?
badger
like
you.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like people love, and like obviously families like love to pick on people
Yeah.
and be like, I
Yeah.
love this like
Right.
vegan like
Yeah.
dish. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, my sister probably went through that because she was been a vegetarian since she was 13. Well, but my parents were very accepting. I was probably the one that was a nudge to her, but she was 7 years older than me, so I was allowed to be a nudge. But yeah, I always feel bad. I feel like I don't know if I did this to you or not, but I feel like I probably gave you a harder time about the vegan, like going out or something. It when I was like less knowledgeable, yeah. But like, and I think that's most people though that give people a hard time for being vegan.
Yeah, I hope so. I
You
hope
know?
that those people don't know everything.
Or they're
and are
just
still
mean
being-
spirited.
I always assume that like they just don't know. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
never take it as like, oh, you're sitting here and insulting me. I'm like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity to like educate this person, since they want to ask the questions, like I'll answer them.
Yeah.
But I'm never like confrontational or like, hey, what's that steak on your plate? Like
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like, who's gonna
exactly.
do
I've
that?
never said anything like
facts
that.
down
Yeah.
your throat. Yeah, it's and I feel like so many people think of vegans that way, and it's like I've probably never done that. Like ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Because just because you're doing this thing for yourself, and I would like everybody or more people
Yeah.
to do it, and like, yeah, if I'm gonna be honest, like in my head, like I do wish everybody at the table was thinking about this, and maybe we
Yeah.
didn't have turkey like this Thanksgiving, but like it's not gonna be that way. So like I'm not gonna ruin the holiday.
Exactly.
No, yeah,
You
of
know?
course.
But
Like,
if people do ask questions, like, or if you're gonna be like argumentative towards me, like, I'm gonna argue back for what I believe in, but
Right.
I'm never gonna
Mm-hmm.
approach you.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just wish there was like more just respect and support for people who are vegan, just because it's like, unless it's for like only for health reasons, they're doing it for like good. Like we're trying to do
Like,
something
we're nonviolent.
right
We come
and non
in peace.
and like it's not hard, but it's not easy. Like you have to take tons of crap, and like lots of restaurants are like hard, or like, you know, all that kind of stuff. So like it's not like just doing it for like something fun. Like it's not usually that fun. So I just wish there was more support. Like, oh, I'm glad you're doing that because I couldn't, or something like that. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like as I get get older and mature more, I feel like I can at least have a respect that you guys do that. You know, that you guys really are like really good at it. You know, for the you know.
This is my best talent.
But some people are not good at it, you know? Most of America is not good at like being aware of where their food comes from. And like I am working on it, but like it's still gonna take me a minute, you know?
I mean, yeah, and like to be fair, like to the American people, like the
Whoa.
no, I mean
All of you out there.
this is a big statement. No, like the industry really does silence it on purpose because there's so much money behind it. So it's not like it's accessible to everybody, and everybody just like is born knowing all of these things. So even though it is like when you turn on Netflix, like they usually are right there on like the documentaries, at least on my Netflix.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Netflix, but like they're right there on the documentary. So like now it's like getting more and more, but it's silenced on purpose.
Yeah.
So it's not like
100%. Right. There's a lot of ways, like, how was I even supposed to know that kind of thing?
Right.
So, yeah.
And like even that's like mainly what the documentary Cowspiracy is about, but almost all of the environmental organizations like barely mention once on their website any of this when it's the leading cause.
That's
so it's
crazy.
like because they're a lot of them are funded by dairy industries or like at least partially backed or whatever. It's all like complicated political money stuff. But it's all, that's how these things get started, and then nobody has any idea. So people who are really think that they, you know, are really big environmentalists or whatever are not getting the right facts, and they're just eating meat every day. So
yeah.
Very interesting. Well, we're coming up on an hour. Does anyone have any last statements that you want to share with, you know?
we should do
think
some
I do.
recommendations too for like movies and pod and
Yeah,
books and
definitely.
stuff.
I'd love to hear
You
that.
want to have your statement first,
Oh,
or do you want to
no.
close it out?
Close it out. What are your recommendations?
Yeah, go over your recommendations.
Okay. The documentary Cowspiracy, 100%. The same people made What the Health, but there's been a lot more controversy with that. I watched it and it was like really good, but I don't necessarily like fully think that had a bunch of truth. They kind of just
is it like
I don't
extreme?
know. I just don't know that much about it, but it's basically giving the same argument but with health, but kind of going to the extreme, like saying that like you could smoke 60 packs of cigarettes is the same. I mean, maybe it's true, but like I'm just saying that Cowspiracy had a lot more
Factual
information. And then Dominion was an Australian documentary that I went to the screening of last year, and it was literally blew my mind. It was 10 years of behind the scenes footage in farms in like 80 countries or something, like people. And basically they just go through every single animal that we use in any way and show exactly what happens to them. So it's like such a great source of information, and it's free online if you just go to their website. And like I watched it, like I told my mom to watch it, I tell everyone to watch it because it's just such a like it's all right there. Like,
What's their website? Say it for the pod.
I don't know, but if you just search Dominion movie, then it'll be like the first thing.
Dominion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Eating Animals, that's the book that I read in London that pretty much made me decide that I wanted to be vegan. Again, it's just a guy's journey deciding what to feed his child when his wife was pregnant, and both of them weren't vegan. They were just like wanted to know more about what they should do, and he just goes through all the research he did and how they eventually became vegan. The Chick Peeps podcast is my favorite podcast, and it's besides this one.
Yeah.
And it's by Ivana Lynch, who's Luna Lovegood in Harry Potter. And she just it's really sweet, and she just has different guests on and talks about all these different topics. But her point is she really wants to like have a more modern look at veganism, not the old hippie vegan type thing, but really make it for like today's generation and like just to learn more about it and what people can do.
That's cool.
And then the two main organizations that are great to donate to are Farm Sanctuary and Mercy for Animals. Yeah, you have some?
Yeah.
You go.
So this book that's just so great, it's called Skinny Bitch, and I'm totally gonna butcher the author's last name, but it's like Kim Born-Win. And I love it just because like she is so casual with the way she wrote it, and she's like, put that fucking bullshit down and like pick up a banana. It's just so like down to earth, and like I don't know, I felt like I could relate to it. It helped me a lot when I was first going vegan. And then 2 documentaries. One I just recently saw called Eating Animals, and it's actually co-produced by Natalie Portman. And I went to the screening of the film in New York and got to attend a Q&A with Natalie Portman.
That's so cool.
And she's just so cool. Like, her whole family, like, she's raising her kids vegan. And the documentary was more on factory farming and interviewed, like, workers that retired that used to work in factory farms. And I feel like it was just a great perspective that other documentaries hadn't covered. And then another one is Before the Flood by Leo DiCaprio. Love him. Love the documentary. Wish they mentioned veganism a little more.
Well, apparently he's not vegan.
Yeah, and I've heard, like...
Which is so
like,
weird.
on and off. Yeah, I'm like, dude... Because he co-produced Cowspiracy.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, what
He's
are you doing?
vegetarian. I mean,
At least he's all for it. Obviously.
Yeah, I guess. I guess they.
It's a good
working on
documentary,
it.
too. Like, it talks a lot about, like, environmental impact more.
Yeah.
So if you're into that, I'd recommend that. And then just, like, my closing statement, I think I would just say, like, I'm really hopeful for, like, the vegan movement just because I feel like our generation is way more woke than past generations.
Agreed.
And upon going vegan for myself, it opened my eyes to just activism in general. I'm like, wow, what other facts are out there? And now I, like, identify as, like, an eco-feminist. And,
No,
like,
I see your Instagram stories.
Yeah. I'm, like, so involved in so many other movements and, like, a lot more politically than I was. So I feel like, you know, once you go vegan, there's this saying that, like, your third eye is, like,
Yeah, my
more
last chakra.
open. Yeah.
People are like turning it off.
Like, okay, and that's it.
All right, it's been an hour. It's enough. That's awesome, though. Go, Claire.
Oh, I actually wasn't sure if you were turning it off. So if we came to an hour, no. So
Once it hits an hour,
don't think
the
it
hour
matters.
strikes. It doesn't matter the conversation. It's off.
wait, you're cutting into my
Time's
time.
up.
Well,
Oh God.
well, you guys said like the documentaries and stuff. I mean, yeah, those are awesome. I haven't seen all of them, but yeah, those are great. And then in terms of, I know you had like recipe stuff on your paper. I wasn't cheating, but I read the same ones. So
There you go.
no. Well, Anna has a great Instagram. You can plug that plant-based pasta party.
It's at plant-based pasta party. I just do like every other one is pasta because I'm Italian family and I like love pasta and I love how you can make like creamy like gooey stuff that's vegan. But then also just other food. It's all really easy and cheap. So yeah.
So that's a great one.
I have one
And
too.
then
I totally
my
forgot.
God, what is it?
It's at human17. Please follow me.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
it's a
wait.
follow you.
Can I make one right now?
Yeah, make up one.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned for that. But anyway, yeah. So those
Farm girl Claire, 69, 420.
69. Vegans are cool too. Anyway, so then also like Thug Kitchen is really awesome
Yes.
cookbook, like just really great. It has like all different types of recipes. For just like a lot of it's like kind of party-ish snacks or just like soups, like literally anything really good and easy. And then I always look on Minimalist Baker like as like my own form of like social media site because she like her pictures are so like good and I just like go through them and just like look for like ideas of stuff, whatever. So she's really great. And yeah, there's probably other stuff. I'm sorry. That's all I can think of right
We
now.
could go on for
Yeah, really. It's like
I could keep going.
Yeah.
So your
yeah.
last statements,
Oh.
were those the last statements, the recommendations, or do you have anything to say to the world?
Go vegan.
I have viewers in England and Australia. So not viewers, listeners.
Oh my God. Okay, well, can I say what I was going to say before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this isn't like a good closing statement. Like, this was just a thought that I had.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'll be here all night. It's fine.
Okay, so this is like kind of, you were saying this before, and this is what made me think of it. Like, let's say listeners, you're somebody that's like, okay, like what you were saying, right? Like, I want to do it. Like, I'm making like, a point to not eat meat a lot of the time, but like I'm gonna eat it like this time or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I've messed up like a couple times, like eating like pizza sometimes, like whatever.
Same.
But like
When we had too much tequila.
okay. Okay, be quiet. Anyway, so like I obviously understand that, like I get it, but kind of what I do is like if you're thinking like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna eat meat, like I'm gonna eat this like dinner, like this whatever it is, tonight because it's like a luxury and like I understand that. And you're like, but it's not really gonna hurt the environment too much. Like I do it all the rest of the time. What I kind of, because I do have those like thoughts, whatever.
Sure.
But then I think like, okay, but like the animals, like I go through it in stages. So like then the last thing I think is like, okay, but what happened to this animal to even like get the milk on this plate or like to get whatever? And I'm like, okay, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like if you like set your mind into like a routine of thinking about it, it makes it easier because it makes you not want it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that was a good statement, but
Yeah.
you're like, yeah.
Well, I feel like shit. Also,
Oh my god, I didn't mean it like that. I don't want to make anybody feel bad.
I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, I'm just saying because like I get it. Like it's hard. So like I'm
Yeah,
just saying
yeah.
like those are the things that like I think of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. No, I mean, if you actually think about, like, if you think of the animal and what happened,
Right.
you wouldn't
That's a
fucking
shitty
eat a
feeling,
human, even though they were dead anyway, because they
Well,
were brutally.
I mean,
But you know what I mean? Like, it is kind of, it's really fucked up if you think about it, the process. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Did you have something to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say go vegan
Go vegan.
or try.
you go
Or
try
try.
to be vegan.
Yeah.
Or at least meatless Mondays, right?
Yes.
Or Veganuary.
Yeah.
That's what,
Yeah.
oh, well, it'll be
January.
February when you post
Yeah,
this, right?
yeah.
But
The February.
Next January.
yeah. or February or March.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys for being on.
Thanks,
This was
guys.
very
Thanks.
insightful.
I stopped sweating a while ago.
Oh,
Oh,
I say I say goodbye to my sound guy Will. So bye, Will.
Bye,
Bye,
Will.
Well.
Okay, thank you. Love you.